This is Standing While Black, a weekly podcast discussing Black experiences and fandom. I'm your host, Ashley Briggs, and thank you for checking out the show. Thanks for tuning in. I guess tuning in is not the word. Thanks for listening to the season 1 finale of Standing While Black. I was going to wrap up season 1 with a solo kind of get to know me, I guess I still am, episode on my own, but then I decided who better to do this final season 1 finale episode with than my fave and my new co-host on the podcast, Roswell and Chill, over on Anchor, my lovely husband, Sam. Welcome to my show, Sam.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to help your audience get to know you.
You're so sweet. I'm basically handing over the show to you in a sense to ask me some questions. I've never been on this side. I haven't really prepared my answers. I really feel like a guest. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not ready. I don't know what's going on.
I think you know what the questions are coming.
I know.
I'm going to call a little shenanigans. But you don't know what's coming to hit you with these. But here we go. To start off with, what is this episode about? What do you stand? What standhood are we talking about here?
Yeah. So I've had standing and fandom experiences across different mediums and genres and across different points in my life. But I did want to touch on kind of a standing/unstanding experience that has happened in the last year. Well, anyway, I wanted to talk about being a stan or a former stan of the Backstreet Boys. And if you aren't familiar with them, where have you been? They are still, Backstreet's back. They never left. They will actually be here in Arizona next summer. But I will not be seeing them, and I want to talk about why.
Oh, dang. All right. It's a story of love and loss. I like it. It makes for riveting podcast content. See, you should have been interviewed way before. So, when did you first run into Backstreet Boys? How'd you get acquainted with this? From youth, from now? Tell me more about your past and the context before we get into these nitty-gritties.
I first saw the Backstreet Boys in all their glory back in the TRL days, Total Request Live. It was an MTV show, kind of like an after-school-y music countdown. You can call in and vote show, kids, if you've never heard of it. Oh, you were describing
Total Request Live. I thought you meant a special show, something. Just, okay.
Yeah, just TRL, because people don't know what it is.
Exactly. Okay.
In case you don't know. Hosted by Carson Daly. I've actually been on that show. When I went to New York in high school, I was on TRL, and I got a hug from Will Smith. Wink, wink. I don't know why I winked. I'm looking at you, Will. You can't see me. And, so, back in those days, before I Won It That Way, when people really knew who they were, I saw the music video for Quit Playing Games With My Heart. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were an NSYNC fan, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. I know the songs.
Yeah, I know the songs. And so, I liked the song, thought it was catchy, and then it gets to like the second part where the song breaks down and it starts to rain and they're all wet. And my teenage hormones were just like, damn! And just fell in love, fell down the rabbit hole, as one would say.
So who's your favorites and all the biases and, tell me more.
Nick Carter was my favorite. I kind of learned to...
Which role was he? Which persona for folks who don't know it? Was he like Sporty Spice or was he bad boy?
He was the baby of the group and the lead. The lead was treated like the lead singer. Brian was really the lead. But Nick and Brian were the main singers. The JK of the group.
Okay,
we're going to be, I was like, I'll go into my current things next season. But I was a Nick fan and loved Frickin' Frack. And my cousin was also a big Backstreet Boys fan. So we went to concerts together and collected merch and picked up every magazine we could find back when people collected magazines just to get a picture or an interview from your favorite band.
Did your parents take you, or you on your own, or?
Luckily, we got to go on our own. First time I saw them in concert, They were headlining. Mandy Moore opened up. I don't know if you know this, but before This Is Us, she was a pop singer, and she debuted, like went on tour with Backstreet Boys. I saw her, thought she was awesome. But I was a Britney fan, so I was like, I don't know if this girl can do what my girl Britney can do, and I'm still right. Sorry, Mandy. I still love you too. Anyway, this was high pop, early 2000s. I gotta hate on somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
Mandy
it was
Moore
very.
can do.
It's always
sign her own
competitive.
legal paperwork.
Oh, free Britney.
Free Britney.
So we're getting there. And so yeah, so we would go to concerts. Our parents would come up with the money. Tickets then were like $60 a pop, which was a lot. I was working part time.
What are you talking about?
Like 2000, like 98 to 2001. I think let's say that was right high, like top.
When the minimum wage was exactly the same.
Yeah,
so,
sadly.
I mean.
So yeah, I loved their music. Thought they were great singers and they could harmonize and they could kind of dance. I knew they weren't the best dancers, but they made it fun and their music was light. And, you know, I would sit with a cassette and record the radio just to catch their new songs. Like, you know, I'll Never Break Your Heart and Larger Than Life, like the Millennium Tour. Mm-hmm. I got to see that tour. That was awesome. And that was an arena tour. So it was like huge. The second time I saw them, by the time I was in college, I saw them again and they were playing at a bar. So it was very disheartening.
How big of a bar are we talking?
It was like a college bar. So not tiny, but like to go from arena to, in my memory, like a few years later, I'm like watching them. They couldn't even do the dance moves. Then they've changed. They've gotten it together in the decades since. But didn't leave a great taste in my mouth.
Sounds like a good, solid early relationship. I mean, since we're going there, why were they better than NSYNC? Why did NSYNC?
Yeah. Oh my God. I was one of those mean girls. I would bully NSYNC fans at school and middle school.
It's called jealousy.
And early. now I see it. Now I wish I had picked NSYNC more so. But yeah, I was an NSYNC hater. I knew all their songs and refused to admit it. You know, I was very into fan wars, fed the beast. And
why? I mean, was that just because they
what
were?
Was it?
I found share from Backstreet,
and then I knew about Lou Pearlman, and I was just like, they're not even a real group. Like,
did you know about Lou Pearlman from the beginning? I mean, how did that make you feel? I guess once you learned they were
I've always been kind
created,
of media.
Entity.
I've always been following entertainment news since I was a little kid. So when shit was going down with Lou, I knew about it. I was reading entertainment.
And for those who don't know, why don't you tell the background? Was just a quick, 30,000 foot. What is the relationship between Backstreet Boys and NSYNC here, and all things.
I mean, yes, we all know they were in competition with each other, being two of the most popular boy bands at the time. Let's not forget about 98 Degrees and Five and all the other groups. Boy bands were everywhere. They were everywhere. But the top, contenders, I guess, were the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And I just happened to see the Backstreet Boys first and became loyal to them. And I knew their songs. And when NSYNC came, just as it's meant to do, their marketing and everything between the labels and with Lou, like it worked. His strategy was to put the two groups against each other, which would then create these this gang mentality, which is fan wars, and it worked. And I was very much like, fuck NSYNC and Justin Timberlake's ugly, look at his hair, I don't know. So
you have a point.
And I still don't like him. So a lot of some of these things haven't changed. So yeah,
that time music was great. The time movie was great.
The In Time.
Justin Timberlake, but that was Justin Timberlake, right?
He's a better actor, I guess. I mean, he could still sing.
Oh, shake my hand. That sounds good. I mean, and for those to put a fine point on it, created as another band, literally to create a competition to drive CD sales. Yeah. Same people behind both things.
Which is nothing new.
Which makes all the anger, that's what you like. So,
and they took so much money from them and just screwed these guys over. Exploitation.
Yes.
Look into it. Find the boy band documentary.
Free the woman. But also, how did that standing go? I mean, you got older, you went to college, you kept doing it. Did you do other Backstreet Boys things? I mean, how did the fanhood? How about you and your cousin? How about everyone else? Where did it go? Did you embrace? Did you do stuff? Did you make Backstreet friends? How's this all work?
Backstreet friends, yeah. Shout out to my friends Allie and Erica. You'll probably not hear this. I don't know, in case they do. But me and my middle school friends, when I first was deep in the fandom, we wrote a lot of fan fiction, kind of violent. I don't know. We were angsty. 8th graders. So I started writing fan fiction with the Backstreet Boys as my subjects, and then moved on to Roswell. Subjects. Well, that's what I see. I mean, they're subjects of the story.
Yeah.
But, that sounds creepier. So made friends through that. And then there was one girl who I was just ruthless too. She was an NSYNC fan. She wanted to kick it with us. She loved fan fiction. We're still Facebook friends now. But like at the time, I was just so mean to her. I apologize. Because you go in deep with these things when you're that age. I mean, at any age, people can be delusional and get too caught up in fan wars across any genre. It happens, and it's built in. So I definitely learned when I got older, how capitalism works and not to feed into it as much.
Yeah.
But
still a white kid boy band, basically.
Yeah.
So how'd it work out for you?
I mean, I can't think of a time where I thought like, oh yeah, they're dead, like they're cool, like they like their black fans, or ever mentioned that they had black fans. Or the closest thing to really acknowledging black culture was when they did the remix of the song "The Call" with the group Eclipse.
Oh,
is that their name?
Yeah, sure.
Which I didn't know them, but I was like, but this beat is fire. Like, I love that song. And it got a music video, and go check it out. Don't check it out. Fuck that.
I did an interview before you make decisions.
So yeah, but like going to their concerts with my cousin, who's half black, half Ecuadorian, and I'm black, and we're standing in line, waiting hours in line to go to their concerts, and it's like, does anyone else around here look like us? Like, we don't really fit in. And the music was very like low key Christian rock-y in like kind of the second half. But I stayed loyal and listened to their albums up until like Never Gone, I think was about maybe the last time I put money into buying an album. But even then I kept listening to them, even though I never really felt like seen or heard as a fan by them. And I don't expect them to like call my house and be like, hey Ashley, thanks for loving us. But I felt like, I don't know, a disconnect, like being on the outside of something, looking in, as opposed to feeling a part of the fandom overall. And this is like early AOL days where you could participate in fandom, but I ended up leaning toward Roswell and other communities.
With all those currents pushing against you, why keep going? Like, what did it bring to you that made you stand in the first place if it seems like such a hard thing to maintain?
Well, I liked their songs. I thought they were good singers, and I liked kind of feeling like I knew how good they were before everyone else really appreciated them. And then I Want It That Way came out, which I still remember to this day when that song first premiered on the radio. I was recording it, had my cassette player ready, played it, and the original I Want It That Way had different lyrics. I don't know if you know that. Had a totally different the lyrics are dumb anyway, but the lyrics were different. They changed. Like, I remember all of that, and the fandom kind of being like, what does this mean? And trying to dissect Backstreet Boys lyrics, which there's not much there, but it's something to do, I guess. So I mean, it's pure pop, sugary pop. And they do have some good harmonies. I will not take away their talent. All these years later, for whatever genres they do, they are still talented singers. I wish AJ got more credit for his singing compared to Nick and Brian. And then Sorry Kevin and Howie, all they were necessary for harmonies. But I definitely remember watching like concert DVDs and like skipping their solos. I'm so sorry. So yeah, I stayed in because I was a teenage girl, and I thought one of the boys was cute, and I listened to their music. I liked his voice, and like the reasons a lot of young people who are coming into their own, I guess. Yeah. And like, you like someone, you have a crush, celebrity crush.
Yeah.
I was married to Leonardo DiCaprio, but I had a crush on Nick Carter for a few years.
Oh yeah. So what happened?
Now I don't want to get into slander here or anything, but I still listen to their music. It became nostalgia as I got older and life went on. And then a few, I would say like not that long ago, really. I don't know. Our son was a baby. A little baby not too long ago. but heard about allegations of sexual assault from Nick Carter, which it was shocking news, and he was acquitted. I will say that, but my heart felt like he's guilty. Like I'm not saying he was. I wasn't there. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a prosecutor.
I don't think he's going to sue us here. I think we're pretty solid.
He was guilty, so I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to put any more any more money into them. I'm not a stan anymore. Like the statute of limitations had passed by the time his ex-fiance came forward with, I almost said alleged accusations. I don't know the legal terms.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I can't go out here trying to cancel him. Am I going to fight to cancel this guy? But I will, keep my money and not do any more standing actively. I didn't burn all my merch or anything. How
did the rest of the stanhood react? And did that drive your decision to back away anymore? Like, was he offended? By
that point, I was still
everyone on the same board. Did you involved at all?
Yeah, I wasn't active by that point. I was in my mid-20s and late 20s, pushing 30. How old was Max? I don't even know. No. Anyway, 30. Not to say 30, you're too old to stand, but I just had by that point stand.
Literally not.
I was just not standing anything right now.
Yeah, exactly. Stay until the day you die.
Please do.
Support artists. Die. No, please don't die. Don't die. Please stand until the day you die. Yes.
So yeah, I wasn't standing anyone. I want to say actively following along any more than my other husband.
Yeah.
So, that's just a constant, and he's a good human being, and I just have not had a reason to unstand him all these years later. So, love you, DiCaprio. Stay consistent. Save the planet. But in this case, I was still listening to their music, decided I will not put any more money into a group that I don't feel comfortable, that I don't trust, just as people. I'm not saying you gotta love, you can't stand someone who is problematic, I guess. I mean, I guess you shouldn't. Everyone teach their own.
I know, don't.
But
well, I mean,
I had a moral quabble. Yeah, but
your show. Tell me more. Can you? Yeah. But I was you stand somebody who has a moral quandary? Because it sounds like from this situation, the answer is
I learned that I can't. But it will always come to mind. And Nick had a reality show that showed his family, and I have followed issues with his brother Aaron and just his family drama, and it's a lot. And then people have their issues, and it's I could see him being kind of an angry dude, suspicious. I don't know. I don't want to say he did it, but anyway.
Well, I mean, since then,
so since then, I decided, like I said, that I wouldn't put any more money in, but that I wasn't going to actively really discuss it. It was just kind of Ashley doesn't talk about the Backstreet Boys anymore, or she doesn't play their songs anymore. That was it. I kind of grieved it. I found out on a Thanksgiving that year, and I remember just I don't want to think about this. This is messed up. I feel like a friend did something disappointing, and now I got to unfriend kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But here I am, years after that, being okay, I already knew I had issues with him, and now I'm trying to use my platform to remind people of other shit they've done and how they're all complicit, and that they just kind of rallied around Nick in that time because it's just he didn't do anything. It's cool. Let's keep making music. Never stood up for Britney. Anyway, all these things that were already problematic. And then January 6th happens.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to assume, the insurrection.
We're talking about the insurrection, DC.
Right. No, was this before? Did Trump get kicked off of Twitter before or after?
Before.
Was he already off of Twitter?
I don't know. I can look this up on the internet.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure. No, it had to be after because he tweeted during the thing.
Yeah.
Thank you to all the beautiful people. Blah, blah, blah. You're so amazing. Maybe go home. I don't know. You're great. So after. Had to be after.
Yeah, it had to be after. Okay. Yeah. So, and I usually am on Twitter. I have a Stan account. I have my @SWB podcast Twitter account if you want to find me there as well. I will not give you my Army Stan Twitter account information. Find it. And
no, don't though.
Don't though, listeners. No. Anyway, so I'm on Twitter most of the time as far as social media goes, and I don't follow the Backstreet Boys there. Like I said, I just don't engage. I'm kind of past it. So minding my own business. And then it turns out that after Twitter kicked Trump off, like banned him from Twitter, which we all celebrated. That was a great day. You have Brian Littrell of the Backstreet Boys who goes, well, go and find me over on Parler, which is the right-wing other social media app that is now gone because that then was taken off of Google Play and taken off of Apple Podcasts.
I think they're back, though.
Are they back? Well, I'm just talking about this timing of, I'm sure. But, so he's promoting like Find Me Over There, which people hadn't been paying attention to how right-wing he was, which there's proof in more instances and things. He's a big Trump supporter, right-wing, Christian fundamentalist-y guy, which we found throughout, which I could suspect, but since Trump became president, he made it very clear. The other members, I'm not sure, but they definitely support their brother, basically. Yeah. So he decided to make it clear, make it known he was going to go over to Parler. A lot of people were heartbroken. I saw a lot of comments like this, the kid in me is really disappointed in you. How can you support Trump? Don't you care about what your fans think? Don't you care about other Americans? Calling them out. I was disappointed. It was like disappointed but not surprised meme. But yeah, and then I see, really nothing came of it. People kind of made a few jokes for like a day, and then life went on.
Things like
the groups.
He didn't want it that way. Or
yeah, I'm sure.
Stuff like that.
It just became this like, oh, there's a boy band member who had an opinion about Trump. Weird. Like making fun of like who gives a fuck about what a guy from a boy band says versus here's someone who's like top of the charts, who's a part of this group that like has a legacy, who's saying this and this affects fans and this shows what's going on in the country. Like this matters beyond just, some silly girls and their silly boy bands. Yeah. Men like mindsets or
who's
attitudes.
Actively touring.
And now, they're still touring. Of course, with the pandemic, they had to postpone things, but Backstreet's back. They'll be coming back again. As long as there'll be music, they'll be coming back again. But they get to keep coming back, and no one actually talks about the Parler tweet anymore. No one talks about statements he's made to like TMZ and others. It's the people don't want to let go of that nostalgia. They don't want to let go of that happy pill and those memories, and they want to go to the concerts and cheer along with this old group who can kind of move around the stage and just not think about things. But for some of us fans, we don't get to kind of flip a switch or take a break. Like, I forget my identity, I forget my race, I forget what's going on to people like me, and I'm just going to go and sit for 3 hours and just be at this concert. And those are separate things. Like, I can't, as a person, as a Black woman, separate my identity from what I stand. Like, those things have to be aligned. And I can't, like, yes, it's escapism, but even in that pleasant escapism, I'm still me, and I still have to see it from that lens, and I still want to support and give my money to people who are aligned, whose values are aligned with mine. And seeing once again an example of Backstreet Boys not being of the Backstreet Boys being disappointing and not holding each other accountable because they all have issues, and they've kind of threw AJ into rehab back in the day and kind of did the hand washing, and then once he was clean, they're like, okay, now we can talk to you. Like, they could have used a lot of opportunities and a lot of their platform to do good, but instead we've got, Trump supporting Brian, and they just don't contribute much to, in the ways that I would want them to. It's a letdown.
Agreed, as you said, let down, but not surprising for big entertainment artists, top of the game, white dudes, etc. Right. They're going to do what they're going to do. I mean, but also, healthy reminder of standing's great and you have a lot of stuff, but also it doesn't have to be forever. There can be things for a time. And also you can, through your own individual actions, you can't control the world, but you can, stand up for what you believe in your own life. And that's why I love you so much. You're a great person. To that end, this is a positive show. So tell me, to end, not talking about Backstreet Boys. I mean, you now stand again. You have learned to stand again.
I never stopped. DiCaprio's still a good person. I still have two amazing husbands.
You survived to stand. What?
But some you got to chuck sometimes, and it's okay.
What's good about, what have you gained from standing things? What have you gained today? What have you gained through your life? Like, what is a positive, if this is it, people have listened to your whole season and heard all the different variety of voices, what's the good stuff? What's the beauty here about standing? Tell me.
Well, examining my own standing experience while interviewing so many awesome people about their standing and their fandoms, I see that it's bigger than just collecting some merch or just listening to music. It's community, and it's connecting with other people. And when we need connection the most, like in this pandemic, it's nice to have people that you can socially distance, love on back and forth, and people who understand you, even if you feel misunderstood. It's nice to find that community. I'm not a religious person. I'm not in school anymore. I'm not this is kind of my way to find, it's always been a way to find community in different places. And it's kind of that consistent reminder that people most of the time are good. And so even though it's different fandoms and being a fan of different things, when you see people being passionate about something, it's that reminder that, the human heart can give a lot of love to things and to each other. And spreading that is really important. So keep loving what you love. I'm going to keep loving what I love proudly. And now I full-time stan a group that does love me and does love Black people and appropriately.
Preach to the church of BTS.
Yeah. So stan a group that stands you back. I am a proud BTS army.
Yeah,
and I will definitely have an episode.
You do go to church. It's the gospel and all the things. Yeah. We could talk about the rites and rituals of the BTS army. Yeah,
I've never been, a churchgoer, believer of anything. But when it comes to spirituality, it's the closest thing to faith that I've experienced.
True.
And that sounds cheesy, but it's my truth.
That's true.
And they've helped me through a lot. So,
well, to that end, and we'll do, stick around, only fair listeners to hear more about Ashley's journey there and all the things that have happened.
You're going to hear more DiCaprio next season. You're going to hear more. You're going to hear my love of Kel Mitchell. I'm going to get into it. If you remember, all that, or Good Burger, all that, please. Oh, all that and all that. Please go to standingwhileblack.com and sign up to be a guest on the show. Let's talk. The application is still open. It will stay open for season 2, even though I am going to take a hiatus between seasons to prepare some more content and kind of process all of this. But I really have enjoyed talking to so many different people who are passionate about their loves and supporting Black content creators and from all over the world at this point. And I really enjoyed it. So thank you to everyone who's listened to the show. Thank you to all of my guests. Thank you to my number one supporter, you, Sam. And I'm excited to come back with more.
Well, I'm sure I can speak for everyone else, so we're excited to hear more from you. It's been a great season. I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah.
High five. Oh yeah, no real five.
Well, high five.
Sure, high five.
Oh wait, high five. And then on that note, I shall return. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe so that you will be the first to know when I come back for season 2. You can listen to other episodes of Standing While Black by going to standingwhileblack.com or find it on your fave podcast app. And if you miss me the way that I'm going to miss you, you can find me and Sam, my guest for today. Well, I guess my kind of host guest for today. You can find us over on my other podcast, which is called Roswell and Chill. Can you want to tell the folks a little bit about our new adventure?
We watch Roswell, New Mexico, the show, not the city, and we smoke weed and to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then we watch live, so you can come watch the show live with us or listen to our recaps, which are quite lengthy because of the weed.
Because of the weed.
Show.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's enjoyable.
Yeah. Definitely more laid back, casual, conversational. We have a lot of theories. So if you're a Roswell fan or a fan of weed and just want to hear two people chat.
If you're a fan of banter.
Banter, yeah.
We're good at banter. We banter with the best of them.
Now I feel like I've got to show you some.
Okay, ready? How do you feel about the weather though? It's pretty hot outside, right?
We haven't been doing any parties in a while.
Ooh.
Sorry.
High quality banter.
But you'll enjoy it. If you don't watch Roswell, check it out. It's on the CW. So you can listen to episodes 1 and 2 of our show or watch the actual show, Roswell, New Mexico. You can't watch the show there. You can listen to our show at anchor.fm/Roswell and Chill. And you can also find it on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, a couple other casts. I'm still trying to get it on Apple. It's taken a while. If you're a podcaster, you know how that is. So you will find it popping up on more apps soon. So check it out. And lastly, if you want to chat with me, I'm over at SWB Podcast on Twitter as well as Instagram. I'm still trying to get that account set up. I'm an old lady. I'm slow to update my social media. So you can find me there. This has been fun. Thank you so much for being on my show, my love. And that's it. That's it for season 1. I did it. Oh my God.
You did a great job.
Please leave a review. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. I want to, give the people what they want and do better and do more. And if you have any suggestions for who I should interview or hit up, let me know. Give me suggestions so I can inquire. And that's it. That's the end. Bye.
Bye.